The Indigo. The Indigo Shift. With your host, Lyles Dixon.
All right. Hey, y'all. What's up? My name is Lyles, and I'm really excited to have my homie here, Sam. Sam, welcome to the Indigo Shift.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Hello.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so I, as you can tell from my accent, am American, but I was born in Central Asia in Kazakhstan and then moved to the States when I was 6 outside of DC. And then for the last decade plus, I've been in the Northeast in Massachusetts and Connecticut. And as of October, I live in New York City, baby.
And you are a grad student getting a PhD.
Correct. I am
Studying literature.
Suffering in that way, correct, yeah.
Russian literature.
Yes. Mm-hmm. All
Great.
of these things are correct, yep.
Great. Well, I'm so glad that you're here, and I wanted to have you on for many reasons. But we had a conversation recently, and you discussed being trans, and you said something that really stuck with me when you said, I believe trans men are the future. And, I just want to get into that right off the bat. I want to hear more about that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, so the background of all of this is I have been interested in right-wing ideology for the last however many years, and nowadays it's sadly no longer a niche hobby, but in fact just the entire world that we live in. But within that framework, there's a lot of people talking about men and masculinity and how men are failing and how masculinity is under attack. And actually, interestingly, I think some feminists will also argue this, which I'd be curious to talk to you about. But I think within that context, within that discussion, within this pervasive fear in conservative thinking that cis men are under attack, are failing, maybe no longer have access to the same economic and social privileges that they are used to. I think within that context, thinking about masculinity anew, I think trans people theorize gender better than anyone else, period. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that's true. And I think, if that's true, then I think trans men and trans masculine people are thinking about masculinity in ways that are far better than anything that, I don't know, certainly that the conservative, right has anything to say, and then certainly better than what we've had before, hopefully.
Yeah. I think it's people, I see trans people, queer people, trans people specifically as people that have this secret, almost this secret to this power of real true, I don't want to say happiness because that's not necessarily the word, but real true resistance and the secret to life, which is authenticity, which I think once you have that, no one can take that away, nothing else can shake you. But being able to start, like you said, we kind of created a different or this version of masculinity that's just healthier than the one that men have been given, socialized in, cis men. And I think that that's something that's super interesting, because I don't think that any man is actually benefiting from the idea of masculinity that's being put on them. Not anyone, not Donald Trump, not Elon Musk, not all the rich guys who have everything. They're not benefiting from it because they're, I believe, suppressing parts of themselves, right? Masculinity, that's the everyday masculinity that we've been taught. That does require majority of people to have to suppress elements of themselves in order to fit that mold. And yeah, I just think, how can we look at trans men who are not the whole point is to not have to fit into that box and to be able to just embody whatever you want to embody.
I don't think that trans men are de facto necessarily always good at being good people or whatever.
Yeah.
Or like it's not like you transition and then you're like, and now my masculinity is beautifully not toxic. Like I think it's like something that is like accessible to everyone who's like masculine of center, regardless of whether you're cis or trans. I think because trans people have had to like think about their gender a little bit harder than most cis people, maybe it's a little bit easier to arrive at like a masculinity that is less harmful to other people. But I don't think it's necessarily necessary. I also like, I think that, in my own experience, when I worry about passing or not passing, the things that I want to erase about myself that I worry make me not pass are the traits that like I want to see in other men. It's like being like kind. It's like being emotional. Like when I feel like I want to pass, like I feel like I need to be like really short and gruff with people and be not expressive, move my body in public in a way that maybe would be like threatening to some. That doesn't like come naturally to me. It's not the way I want to move through the world. But like if I feel like unsafe, and I think that like there are some trans men, trans masc people who might move towards that in order to like fit in order to like pass.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, and then I also think that like, like masculinity and race are so intertwined as well. I don't know if I have anything eloquent to say about that, but just that like, like, yeah, I think like there are so many different kinds of masculinity. And I think like white trans masc people are often like reproducing aspects of like white masculinity that are harmful. But they're doing it within like maybe like a queer and trans context.
I think some trans men are just doing it in a more healthier way because being born with female parts and being maybe socialized as a woman, I was socialized to be a woman. And so I was socialized to be agreeable and to be a people pleaser. I think that's really common for females. And that I was, at the end of the day, without really saying this, like being chosen was really important as a woman. And so I think, if that's somebody who has that experience, socialized as a woman, and then transitions, decides to transition and identify as transmasculine, trans whatever, you still have that with you. But just maybe there'd be that difference. And I think that's what I was trying to pinpoint, is this difference between like I know trans femmes, I know trans masc, whatever. And not all of them, but some trans femmes I just notice are more maybe forward and confident in a way than some of the trans mascs, because again, some of them were socialized as men up to a certain point. And so I think there's that really unique thing that like I've heard women say like date trans men, they're so much better. Like they're just like they get it, like they understand.
Of like like maybe being more likely to be compassionate and kind and like understand care work. I don't know, like even like something like on the street, I like reflexively make space for people. I think in a way that like a cis man might not necessarily, but again, I think that is like a classed and racialized thing. Like I do think that is a strength of ours. I'm also sure that there are people who are like, I'm so excited to leave behind the undertrodden class and become one of the
Of course,
the whatever.
And that's what people historically do, is like,
right,
for example, like even like for gay men, for example, cis gay men, like there's not that many people in society that they can look at and say like I'm better than you, so they look at trans people and they're like, well, I guess that's the people that I'm gonna so it's like a thing that we do, whether we want to realize it. I do it all the time, like in my own ways. Like I want to hold on to this one piece of safety that is the part of me that's like a little bit above this part of someone else. It gives me that sense of that ego worthiness. Yeah.
Totally.
So I get what you're saying though about like there are some trans people that are like, bye y'all, good luck with that, and they're like, yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah, but I am glad that, like people are experiencing trans men and trans masc people for like kind and caring people.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to like bring up is this question of socialization, which I've heard people like sort of to me like helpfully kind of like pick apart a little bit, which is the idea of like if you are like say like, you know, in my instance, like I do believe that I was socialized as a girl, but I also believe that I was socialized as a girl who like was not a girl. You know, like there was like a certain amount of dissonance. You know, like my experience wasn't that I like agreed, like you know, like I didn't feel at ease in my gender. And so like though I may have like learned the behavior of it, like my experience was different. And I think especially in the context of like trans femmes, like saying that they were socialized as boys, I think is complicated. I think even like I'd say like some of the like non-binary AMAP people that I know have like, you know, like pushed back against this idea as well, because like they were socialized as men but were like punished for so much of their behavior because it fell out of line, you know, outside of like what the norms were.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so like I guess I like then wonder like the extent to which like that concept of socialization is actually like useful.
Right.
I say that, and at the same time, like I for me, I think it is useful. I'm like I learned these behaviors that are coded traditionally feminine, traditionally
Yeah.
for girls, and they impact my behavior now. So I don't know. I feel like we could maybe like hold both of those at
Yeah.
the same time.
That's super interesting. That's an interesting point.
Yeah. And like I think part of what I really love about being a trans man is that I like have these points of connection with like femme and non-binary folks who are assigned male at birth. Because I think, you know, like we get to come together at this point of like femininity and masculinity from places like where we were not supposed to. You know, like we're both like punished in different ways for these behaviors. Yeah. I think I like naturally tend to gravitate, and like maybe part of this is like my own like romantic and sexual preferences, and also like I have a lot of friends that fall in this line of like femme-ish people who are assigned male at birth.
I like
And
how you-
yeah, I don't know.
I like what you said about how we're not supposed to, like that place that they've gotten to that maybe they weren't supposed to, like gender-wise or whatever. I love that because I feel like what I want to highlight the most is like, what are we supposed to and not supposed to? And when I think about trans people, queer people, gender non-conforming, gender fluid, whatever, non-binary, just not like people that are putting themselves in a binary. I feel like the thing we have in common is, I don't know, we're not choosing one or the other. Maybe we are, but I don't know. We're sort of like in territories that aren't supposed to be. We're in places we're not supposed to be in technically, and I think that's the only thing that makes us. I don't know what I'm saying, but like different,
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, we're like denaturalizing all of these ideas of who we're supposed to be. Like, you know, like I have this meme on my phone that I like look at all the time, and it's like a photo of like this baby with a little outfit on, and the baby says, like, this is a straight baby who's gonna fuck your wife. It's like this idea of like that's an insane thing to say. Basically, it's like
babies.
That was
having
insane.
Sex.
like just like, you know, I've been keyed into the conversation. I checked my phone for 1 second.
And I was just like, my action was like, yeah, I was not phased at all.
Please let me explain. So it's this idea that like, you know, you'll have like a young male baby and you're like, oh, he's flirting with you. He has a little girlfriend. So it's like taking that and like elevating it to the next level, right? But like, you know, like it's actually insane that cis people, and like not all cis people, but like it's insane that we live in this world in which like you know, like a doctor determines the sex of a baby, then its entire family is like imposing this like, oh, this is your girlfriend, you're flirting. And then they are then supposed to like become this image of masculinity when they're older, and that's supposed to somehow track from when this baby is like, I don't know, like a year old till they're like 40, like, or older. Like, that's just like nuts. Like, you know, I think all these things are naturalized in a way that when you actually look at them, you're like, that actually makes no sense. I feel like recently my big revelation has been that like, it actually, there's no disjuncture between me having been like raised as a girl to me now being a man. Like, it's actually a beautiful thing that there is that like natural variety that, like, you know, that when you look at photos of me as a child, you know, you'd be like, oh, that is a little girl or whatever, based on the way that I was dressed and based on my haircut. Or like you see photos of me as a teenager after I hit puberty, whatever, and look at myself now, like those are things I used to be ashamed of, that there was that incongruity. Like I have been ashamed of the fact that I have like top surgery scars. I used to wish that I had boobs small enough that I wouldn't need, like, I would just need the keyhole incision, which is like you just have less scarring from that. But like, why I don't want to carry that shame around, you know? And so I think it's like completely normal that I think it is normal and fine that like the way I was upon birth and a doctor was like, this baby's sex is now different, or like the gendered expectations of me when I was like 6 do not match how I present now. So it's insane that people think that should be a continuous thing that should hold true. Like, it is so clearly untrue. I think like trans people see that. And I think many cis people do too. And I look forward to, you know, a life in which that is, you know, seen to be the like construction that it is, you know? Yeah.
So what would you say to people who argue, conservatives, right-wing people that say you cannot be a man if you're not born without these chromosomes or whatever? It's kind of like a woman. What is a woman? They always ask that. What is a woman? And then they say, this is what a woman is. Can you get pregnant? Can you not? Like, I know that's like such a level to stoop to, even responding to that. It's so silly. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great question because I think it brings up the question of sex as well. Like, what is sex? There are trans people who argue that, like, I have in fact changed my sex because the definition of sex also is like something that you know, conservatives have tried to hold on to. You know, they've made it like chromosomes basically. So like, you know, like as far as we know, we do not have the ability to change our chromosomes. Like, I still have XY chromosomes, and they make it. I think that is like the kind of like the primary one they hold on to. But like on all other measures, which are also definitions of sex, like my skin has gotten thicker, so has my blood. You know, my testosterone levels have changed. My hair pattern has changed. The way that I orgasm has changed. You know, like so many things have shifted to the extent that like I would say that I don't know, I would say my sex is male. It's not female. You know, and to the question of like that becoming pregnant means that is what makes you a woman. There are so many cis women who cannot become pregnant. Does that make them less of a woman because they cannot have a baby? Like, I find that so like terrifying and like eugenic and disgusting. I don't like, nobody needs to be able to like create offspring in order to be like who they say they are. Also, I'll just say I had in the last couple of weeks, I've had my tubes removed, so I can never become pregnant ever again.
Great.
So
if that's what you want, great.
Yeah. And so by that definition, like, I no longer meet that criteria.
Yeah.
Does that make me a man now? I just don't think it's anyone else's business.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess one like lingering thought I have from like this past little bit is just, you know, like this criteria of gender that conservatives create. They fail by so many of those metrics. Like what a man is to, like, I don't know, Josh Hawley, like by the same metrics he creates, he is not one. You know, whether that is like characteristics like courage or whatever, or if it's like some bioessentialist reality like an XY chromosome. I don't know. And, you know, so many people fail that. So many men fail that. Yeah. And again, like these discussions, I think of like masculinity in particular can't be divorced from ability, and disability, and also from race and like the history of eugenics. So yeah, I don't know. Like if I'm not the kind of man that they think I should be, then like great, I'm happy. I'm so happy to not be. You know, I think if I were to be the kind of man that they wanted me to be, like I would hate myself. I would be stripped of all the parts that like I make me a human being and like make me who I am. Like the kind of men that I want to see are people who are like kind and loving and emotional and emotive and like safe and supportive and playful, not rigid, you know? Yeah. So those are just my thoughts. Do you have any feelings about that?
Fallopian tubes gone. That's what I was sorry about that. You were like, fallopian tubes gone.
They removed them with a gun.
I will say I had such a pleasant experience. When I got my top surgery, I got misgendered the whole fucking time.
Idiots.
Horrible.
Wow.
But with this, no, I got he hemmed. Everyone
Hell yeah,
was so
baby.
sweet. They didn't even make me take a pregnancy test, which is standard for anybody who can get
Yeah.
pregnant.
What hospital was it?
It was through Yale, New Haven, because that is where my insurance is. Yeah, but they
Gotta
were,
be a Yale.
not necessarily. I think if you just have that insurance.
I have to
but
be a. Yeah.
yeah, if you live in New Haven, I don't know. But anyways, really great experience.
Highly recommend.
I will say every time I go to the fucking my tea doctor, he's like, I think this is like a requirement in his little diagnostic chart, but he's like, any moments of gender euphoria, and I'm like, listen, like I'm just glad I don't want to kill myself
Yeah.
immediately
Listen, buddy.
this moment.
Yeah.
Like euphoria in this economy, that's crazy. I can answer the question also.
About Russian literature? Or?
No, about the resonance. If
Oh,
if
yeah,
we
yeah.
like.
You should just start to talk about it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know.
What do you resonate with?
What do I resonate with? Well, I don't know what that voice was.
It was because I made you do it. Anyway, just continue.
Yeah, I mean, what do I resonate with? I love being in public and just like not being noticed at all.
Oh, yeah.
Shit is
Such a difference.
beautiful, very different. I used to get sexually harassed constantly back in my girly pop days. And then I was noticed because people were like, there's something going on there gender wise. We're trying to figure it out. And now I think I don't really know how I think sometimes I pass and sometimes I don't. I think I have no idea. I don't know what the ratio is, but like what feels great is like just like I'm just in the world. I don't have to think about my gender. I mean, I do most of the time anyways, but like I you know, like what's really nice is just to exist and to move through space safely, which again is not something that I have historically experienced.
I resonated and liked what you said about just existing because I feel that wasn't a possibility when I was presenting feminine, girly pop, whatever. And now I feel like I can. Like people don't look at me, they don't double take, you know. For the most part, like guys aren't like attracted, like whatever. That it's not the same.
Yeah, in the pond with the other fish. Yeah, it's nice. It's very nice. I also think it's interesting, like I think masculine women are also like invisibilized in this way. So it's like weird to be like somewhere in between the two where I'm like I'm
Yeah.
invisible because I'm a guy and I'm invisible because I'm seen as like a very butch woman.
Yeah.
And either way, like people are like whatever.
Yeah.
It's great.
I'm
just like, yeah, like do not approach me. Or no, I mean it's not. I'm open.
Don't talk to me. I
Yeah.
feel like my entire self-worth, for the most part, probably 85% of it was the public's view of me.
Oh, me too.
And so now being in this space, when I don't get it from there, it still is and it will be, but it was a lot harder. But I go through phases where it was like, I miss that. And sometimes I do miss that. But to be able to get that not from that, having that from the public, the way that I used to, forced me to find it in other places, aka authentic connections. I mean, you could totally go to a queer space and get that, like 100%. Like, you know, there's someone who thinks you're attractive no matter what you look like. You're going to be attractive to someone. So you can find that, but in a different way that I was finding it when I was girly pop. So I feel like it forced me to actually just like be more of a person. And also, I didn't get the opportunity to really be as much of a personality or human just because I got away with a lot more, or I wasn't challenged maybe. And like now I feel like, it's just different in a better way. I mean, it's harder, but it means that I have to have it's made me less hollow. That's just my experience.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, I don't like totally resonate with that just because like I feel like I never was very good at trying to get what I wanted. Like I so desperately needed men's attention, but then like either I would get it or I wouldn't get it and it wouldn't meet the need, period. I don't know. I guess, yeah, I never felt empowered. It just felt like, I don't know. Yeah, it felt like a game, like a dead end.
What was I going to say? Oh, okay. I think I asked you this last time. What are a few things that a cis man who's attempting masculinity, attempting to fit into the idea that their father whose father passed down, who's attempting that idea of, say, I don't know, who can I compare it to, like the perfect view of masculinity, who would be a good I don't know, like John Cena or something, like, I don't know, strong. Actually, he's not a family man, so never mind.
He's also a sweetie.
Yeah.
Yeah, by all
Maybe like,
appearances.
okay, like, do you know like Brooklyn Decker? Like, he's a football player.
Sylvester Stallone.
I can't put a face
He's
to a head.
Rocky.
Yeah, he's Rocky. He's an action star. He's a family man. He's a man's man. He smokes cigars. He shoots guns.
Okay, so what's his name?
Sylvester Stallone.
Okay, so let's say like Sylvester Stallone. No, because wait,
You just
he's
said
Italian.
You just said that word like you've never
You
heard
said
it
you
before.
said Sylvester
He's Italian,
Stallone.
though.
Sylvester Stallone, like
But that's the thing, though.
Yeah.
Italian. I'm talking like, I feel like often the Italian man isn't the one that these boys are going after. I feel like it's what's like the I would say like Superman, like the original Superman. What is like something like that. All right, I'm gonna start over. So what would you say to Sylvester Stallone? All right, what would you say? What would you say to like the picture of masculinity seeker man who wants to be like, who is seeking that image? I think of someone like Superman, like, you know what I mean, like whatever. What would you say to that? Would be some things that they could learn from a trans man, or even just a healthy, healed man? What are a few
Show
things?
me a single healed man. I mean, I don't know if I'm a healed man either. Anyways,
Well,
yes, yeah, I hear you.
yeah.
I hear you. I'm just
Let's
being
get into it.
contrarian here. What would I say? I mean, I would say like it sounds like you want to be loved. It sounds like you want to look a certain way and act a certain way in order for people to love you. I have news. If you act differently, people will still love you. If you act with kindness, if you treat people as people, if you center that, like you might actually have access to more love. The thing that you might have to give up is power.
What about people that don't love them and that they don't want to lose? What if they're afraid that certain people won't love them?
I don't know. It sounds like those are not people you want in your life. I don't know. Yeah, but that, I don't know. I understand that we all make choices for ourselves.
Mm-hmm. But
You
there
know,
are
like-
people. There's a family no matter what. There's family for you. Not like nuclear, but like queer family, chosen family, whatever. I know you don't like the word family, but
No, totally. I mean, like I'm estranged from most of my family other than my mother, because I'm queer and trans, and like, there's people will like care for you, like if you
Yeah.
show up for other people.
Sure.
Like I found so much care and love in this world, and like very little of it in my family, like biological family, very little of it in like, I don't know, my job or like other places you're meant to look for it. Yeah, I think the best people are like loving and kind. Yeah, like regardless of gender. I don't know. I mean, what would I say to somebody? I would just say that like, yeah, like maybe examine why you want to be that way. Like, what do you think it'll give you? And like, what do you give up in pursuit of that power? Like, how much more disconnected are you from other people? How much harm are you bringing into the world? Like, do you know yourself? Do you know what you actually want? Probably not. That's part of like what sitting with that will give you, you know, and being willing to like break from gender norms might give you is like a more solid sense of self.
And that's on period.
Great. You want to wrap it up?
That was me wrapping it. No, I'm just kidding.
That was the wrap up.
That was the end. Well, Sam, you did it again. You did it again. Yeah, you blew us away. And
Thank you. That's very sweet. Thanks
I
for having
can't
me
quite
on.
handle it.
You're
Can't quite handle
wonderful.
it.
I'm
Well, I
so
know.
excited for this podcast.
Yeah, I know. Me too. It's gonna be amazing. Thank you so much for giving us your time today.
Happy. Thank you for having me.
And trans men are the future.
I agree.
Well, this is a knuckle for you to hit. Well, we didn't have to do that, but whatever. All right. I'll catch you
wanted
guys on the
to.
flip. Thanks. Nice.
Bum, 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 bum.